without perfectionism, then you don't have any desire to do anything that's good. So sometimes that word perfectionism has such a bad connotation. So don't get rid of that trait. Try to be perfect as much as you can. But one of the greatest words in the dictionary is strive. You know, as long as you try, you may not hit the bullseye, but you're headed in the right direction.
Welcome to the Perfect 10 podcast with Amber and Emily, where we challenge the pressures and redefine perfectionism one guest at a time.
Okay, so today's guest is a true entertainment icon, someone who has captivated audiences for over 6 decades. His first rise to fame as a teenage heartthrob became a household name with countless chart-topping hits. As a singer, he sold over 100 million records worldwide, earning gold and platinum albums along the way. As a performer, he's dazzled on Broadway, headlined one of the most successful residencies in Las Vegas history, and even took home the Mirrorball Trophy as the champion of Dancing with the Stars. His career spans music, television, and theater, proving time and time again that his talent knows no bounds. He's a best-selling author, a dedicated family man, an entertainer whose work has stood the test of time. And today we have the privilege of welcoming to the Perfect 10 podcast, the one, the only Donny Osmond.
Hello, you guys. That was an amazing intro.
Well,
listen, that's chills. A lot. That's a lot going on in your life.
Yes. I got tired just listening to it.
I mean, I'm tired for you. You are truly an icon. Like, honestly, like we said, your talent knows no bounds. You are still going at it. What are you up to right now?
Well, right after this podcast, I'm headed to the airport. I fly back to Las Vegas. I have a residency there. This is our 4th year. Actually, it's 15th year if you include the Donny and Marie show at the Flamingo, but I'm at Harrah's now. And every year I add something to the show. And I can't really disclose it yet.
Not yet.
I'm just about ready to disclose all this. It's 2 years in the making, but it involves AI, and we're right on the cusp of technology right now. We're just pushing the boundaries. And when people find out what I'm doing with this AI technology, they're going to say, I gotta see this. It's incredible.
Well, we saw the show before this all went down, and I can attest that it was mind-blowing. If you have not seen this show, his talent is out of this world. The performance, the visuals, you are just hooked in. It feels like it's 10 minutes long because you're just roped right into it and loving
That's
the
really
story.
interesting you say it, because that's the aim. That's the goal, is for a show to go just like that, and people say, oh, wait, no, we just got here.
Oh.
And they look, it's been 90 minutes.
I was put into your world. I loved it so much. I want to go back. And now that there's like a 2.0 version coming that you're talking about, we are not going to miss this.
I think we could fill a theater. We should fill the whole theater with high fitness people. That's what we need to do.
There you go.
We could. Don't to show
Get them all dancing.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of dancing in the show, as you saw.
Oh, your fans are loyal and they just adore you. You can feel the energy and love in the room. And that's another element of your show is the audience is just in it, just hanging on every note, every word. It was such an amazing
I just
experience.
did something in Scotland. I went back and did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat again. As the Pharaoh this time. And what was really interesting is to see the age demographics of the audience, because at the stage door, people would want autographs and things. And it was every age you can possibly imagine, because the movie has been out for years and years and years. And new generation of people, they see this and they learn who Donny Osmond is. It was incredible how many different age groups were there. I have to tell you, I'm sorry, I'm digressing here a little bit.
That's what we're here for.
I have to tell you one thing that I did on stage as the Pharaoh, because the Pharaoh is Elvis. This is the way he talks up there. And
Amazing.
I would throw things into the show every night. It was something different. You'd crack up the cast and Joseph and the narrator. The audience were loving it. One night, there was a deaf interpreter. And every once in a while in the theater, they bring a deaf interpreter for the deaf people. So she's on stage and she's really going crazy, and she doesn't know what I'm going to say, so she's trying to keep up with me.
Those deaf interpreters are amazing. Have you ever watched them at a Broadway play?
So I thought, I got to do this. I got to really do this. So I walk over to, hello, baby. And she's, how you doing, baby? I think she's doing a good job. Give her a hand. And she's interpreting it. And then I stand up and I'm standing up and I said, interpret this, baby.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
I didn't know what was going to happen. You got to take chances on stage once in a while. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But boy, that worked. I said, come on, baby, come on. And I made her do the wiggle. The audience went berserk. The cast, they were on the floor dying laughing. I was laughing. It was fantastic.
Oh, I love that.
And it goes to show how you are able to stay relevant is you take chances, you do different things, you evolve, and it's hard to do the music and the entertainment industry as you age.
It's hard to do it and make it look easy. That's what's hard about it.
Yeah, you do make it look easy. Like that's one thing we're saying. Like obviously you've been 60 plus years you've been in the entertainment industry. So as you go, obviously you have your core group of groupies that are with you the entire time.
I call them the puppy lovers.
Yeah, the puppy lovers. Yeah. So do you always feel the pressure to like get new demographics, or do you just stick with that core group and just be like, they're my fans, I'm going to aim to them? Or do you feel like you're always trying to get different
all of the
demographics?
above, really?
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I've done so many things that keep bringing in younger fans. Mulan, when I played Captain Shang, when people find out I was the voice of Captain Shang, that freaks them out. When I won Dancing with the Stars, that created a whole new audience.
Yes.
That was
but Joseph has done so much. And The Masked Singer, when I was the Peacock on The Masked, that opened up. I had these two little brothers. They were 9 and 11, I think, that came to my show in Las Vegas. And they were sitting in the audience. They just wanted to see the Peacock. Puppy Love, Marie, the Osmond brothers. Who's that? I just want to see the Peacock. I got them on stage. And they were in heaven. And they had these T-shirts on that says, The Peacock. And I brought them backstage and gave them autographs and stuff. So
made their whole life.
A whole new generation,
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like we've talked about, even with us, we have, our hardcore groupies. It's only been 10 years, but they've aged with us. And sometimes we're like, do we go to younger people? But it's like, we know about you because of our parents, right? Like I know about you because of parents, and same thing. Our loyal participants' kids know about high fitness or things because of that. It goes a generation of time, and you've showed you can reinvent yourself over and over and over again.
Well, isn't that the situation of success?
Yes.
Is even in established companies, they're constantly reinventing themselves, coming out with new and fresh things. Otherwise, it's yesterday's dinner. It's for grandma and grandpa. No. It's for everyone. So it's essential to keep reinventing yourself, to create new demographics, but you never go astray by pleasing the old fans. I don't want to use the word old.
Yeah.
The dedicated fans, the long-term fans.
The OGs.
The
That's
OGs,
what we like to call them.
there you go. The OGs.
Yes.
But you've got to pay attention to everybody. And it becomes more complicated, but in a way, it becomes more fun.
Yes.
Because I love challenges. And it's challenging because you've got to please that wide of demographics.
Well, I will tell you, when we went to your show, it's a show for all generations. Like you entertain from the youngest to the oldest. Like it does really encompass that all within one show.
Well, thank you.
It's
like I said, it's essential. You have to do that.
Okay, I want to just quickly go back to the very, very beginning, because often people
I started crying when I came out of the womb. Yeah, that's the very beginning. And I had to sign a recording contract.
Yeah, the beginning of the show, man. Yeah. Because the point of this is to inspire people that, just start something. You don't have to be perfect. So I love hearing like the initial beginning of it, because, it's scary starting something, obviously.
Totally.
So maybe just a little tidbit of how it all began. I know it was with your family, your brothers, but how did that all start?
Well, at the very beginning, my 4 brothers, they were a quartet, barbershop quartet. Not professional. They just loved to sing together. And they went to Disneyland. And they were all dressed alike. And there was a quartet on there called the Dapper Dans. They saw my brothers and they said, hey, are you a quartet? I said, we sing songs sometimes. Well, sing us a song. Blew them away. And they kept going back and forth. Long story short, Walt Disney watched them and said, I got to put you guys on television. So it was really Walt Disney that discovered
Not a bad guy to be discovered from.
Yeah, he's a good one to have discover you. And then I joined a little bit later because Andy Williams' father saw them on a Walt Disney show and said, Andy, you got to put these boys on your show. And then the rest is history. That's how it all began.
Well, and it's interesting how you've continued it on.
Yes.
And that is so, and I've seen you as a young man with Cher, like very big names. And did that happen pretty quickly that you guys kind of, got more and more famous, and then you started singing with other famous?
Well, it's the snowball theory.
Yeah.
Once the snowball gets the momentum, it gets bigger and bigger and faster. You better be ready for the opportunities that are going to come. And the gates were open, and we were flooded with opportunities.
Yeah. I love it.
And that snowball took you. And you and Marie had the Donny Marie show. That was huge. Mm-hmm. When that ended, that was kind of a time where you had to be like, what do I want to do?
Everything ends.
Everything ends. You're right.
You have to be ready to keep reinventing yourself because there's a lifespan to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't reinvent yourself, then that lifespan, you will end with the lifespan. Mm-hmm. But you have to parlay that into something else. One of the biggest transitions that ever happened to me was when the Donny and Marie show ended, because it was so huge, the trajectory, you're going to fall, right? Because it's inevitable. 1985, I think it was, I came to the determination I've got to swim or sink.
Love it.
And I took a chance, a big risk. I moved down to Los Angeles, said, I'm going to start my recording contract again, or my recording career. And I was, every door slammed shut on me. I mean, you'd think after selling all that many records and having a career, they'd say, yeah, here's the contract. Nothing. My career didn't go. I couldn't get arrested. It was so bad.
That is just mind-blowing. At that point, 1985, you were married with, did you have any children at that point?
We just had our third child.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And it's an open book. Everybody knows we lost everything financially. So I had 3 children, 2 mortgages, no job, and no money.
What a story.
So desperation sometimes is the fire that is lit underneath you. Say, I've got to survive.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about changing business, and I thought, no, I'm an entertainer. This is what I do. I believe in myself, so invest in yourself. And guys, I recorded demos for people in Los Angeles. And I would sing, just give me a job. Just let me sing something. Let me sing background. Sing backgrounds on Chicago 17. And so started reestablishing my name within the community again. And they said, oh, you don't sing Puppy Love anymore? I said, no. And I'd play them some of my demos. This is unbelievable. One thing led to another, but you got to fight.
And you were tenacious.
Because sometimes success can bite you in the shorts. Mm-hmm. Because that's what people will put you in, this little pigeonhole. Well, this is what you did, and this is what you always will do. No, that's not the way it works. This is what I'm going to do. But this is what this is what I'm going to do. And then you prove it, and everybody says, I knew you could do it. And I say, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that it was kind of like a rock bottom situation.
Oh my goodness, I could write a book. Oh, I did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
no,
awesome.
But you know what? Sometimes failure is the impetus to success. And sometimes I think it's so valuable. It's so important to experience failure, because then you can appreciate success when it comes.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm enjoying what's happening in Las Vegas right now. It's a wave that I'm riding, the awards and all that kind of stuff. But it wouldn't mean anything if I didn't know what bitter tastes like.
And I feel like when you were saying that, you were obviously this 70s pop star. You had the Donny Marie show. Like, you were riding high for a very long time and didn't, you were working with your talent. But to have that, you know what it feels like, and you know how to work hard, and you've had to reinvent and know you had to go through that to get
Well,
to
my
it.
dad would always say something like about that. He said, anything worth doing is worth doing well. Yeah. What does that mean? Work hard. You got to believe in yourself. And believe me, there's a lot of naysayers out there that'll say you can't do it. You can't do it. Well, you can prove them wrong.
Yeah.
It may not be exactly what you had in your mind. This thing that I'm doing in Las Vegas that I can't talk about yet, it's pretty close to the vision I had in my mind. There are some things where I had to compromise. It's a very important word to learn in your life, to apply. Compromise. Not in a bad way, but in this trajectory for success, you may not hit this goal, but at least you're going in the right direction. You might have to compromise and come back a little bit, but at least you're headed in the right direction. My dad, quoting my dad again, he said, never aim for the moon. Aim for the stars, and you might just hit the moon.
Yeah. It's so refreshing to hear you say, rock bottom, because people often see success stories and they're like, oh, it was easy peasy, off they go to the top. And I often say, because I come from a very humble background, I had my own apartment at 17, working just to survive, that being hungry is actually a gift sometimes, because you have no choice but to survive and thrive.
Well, I love that word, hungry, because what's the antithesis of hungry? Complacency. If you don't have hunger, you're not motivated to do something well, because I have to have that. Not that you want to just, mow people over to reach your goal. Here again, I'll use the word compromise. Sometimes you have to compromise, because the people you step on the way up are the same people you're going to meet on your way down. And believe me, you're going to go down. You will go down, I promise you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
what goes up must come down.
But there's always a way to reinvent yourself and climb the ladder again. It might just be a different ladder.
Yeah. And what I'll say is, everyone who's come in contact with you in your career, this goes so a long way, has such great things to say about you. And so when you said that, you have to compromise. You can't just mow people over.
I pay all of them.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I went broke. But thank you. No,
I once
that.
heard, and maybe this is like, a Utah rumor mill. No, I'm just kidding. That
there's a lot of them.
Oprah Winfrey, when you guys went, the whole family on the show, she said they were the nicest, most humble, down-to-earth family and guest, Donny Osmond, she's ever had on the show.
Really? That's so cool.
I heard that somewhere, so you can take that.
Well, I will verify it. I did know that, yes.
Yeah, no, so that's, you've had so much success, and truly, we've met you one other time before this. You just welcomed us with open arms. You're so kind. You're so down to earth. And I truly believe that is such a characteristic you needed to be where you are in your life.
I appreciate you saying that. Those are the traits that, especially my mom, instilled in all of us. Because the world would be a better place if everybody was just kind. Mm-hmm. Be kind. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Sometimes you have to crack the whip. As an employer, I just don't get up there and say, everybody just have a good time on stage. No, there have been moments where you really have to crack the whip.
You do.
And it's like, remember the old E.F. Hutton commercials? I don't yell, I don't scream, but sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
To demand respect. You don't do it out of habit. You do it out of necessity. Because if you're a CEO of a company, which I have to look at myself as a CEO of my company, I'm running the Donny Osmond brand. And if there's complacency and somebody does a half-baked job when you hire them to do 100% and they're giving you 50 or 40, you better do something about it, because they're going to ruin your company.
Yeah, and we're really learning that, because you have to, it is your company and you have to look out for it.
Yeah.
You can be kind for all the things, but you also have to have a vision, and you have to be a leader.
You have to demand respect. And if you don't demand respect, you can't be a leader.
Yeah.
But you can abuse that.
Yes.
You can really abuse that, and a lot of people do. But I always love the philosophy, and this comes from my faith. Reproving be times, which means, yes, it's okay to discipline, but make sure you follow that up with that person and let them know, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
And because if you do that, then you're going to garner such respect from your employees and those who are around you and work for you, because they want to work for you, because you make them feel good. It's so simple.
Yeah. My father-in-law always talks about the love-discipline ratio.
There it is.
And when we had our kids, he's like, your love-discipline ratio's off, and you're going to pay for it, because there's too much love over there.
I love that.
And he was right. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, you got to balance the two.
Right.
Yeah.
Quickly about your faith. I'm really interested in the entertainment world, okay? Yeah. There's a lot of pressure to party, have women. You've been married for how many years
47.
now? You're a solid married man.
Yeah.
You have morals and values. How do you kind of make that your brand and still be able to roll in the entertainment industry? I find that very interesting.
That's a loaded question, but a very simple answer, okay? If I made choices against my principles, who really gets hurt in the long run? Yes, my children, my wife, all that. But ultimately, I suffer. And I want to be kind to myself. So stick to your standards, stick to your principles. You might get berated once in a while. You might get a dart thrown at you once in a while. But I've learned over the years, and I could spend the rest of this time giving you examples of getting hit with darts. No, this is who I am. I'm not going to make any pretense. I'm not going to be somebody who you want me to be just to be cool or whatever. No, I'm going to stick to my principles and my standards because that makes me happy.
But to me, that's cool.
I think so.
That to me, that you're cool. You're cooler than the partying.
People respect when you stand up for yourself and who you are.
I think so. Because, if you're a chameleon, it's like, who do you want me to be? There's no authenticity in that. You're not very real.
Yeah, it's you wear a cool badge. So
thank you.
I decided to just not drink alcohol, and I didn't drink much. It was just kind of social. And then I'd go to all these parties, and in my city, it's so just everyone just drink, and you'd get berated and what's wrong and this and that. And so I kind of went to a therapist, and she's like, Amber, just own it. That's your brand. I don't drink, and
They'll make fun of you.
I think that's cool.
They'll make fun of you.
And the minute I thought it was cool, like you do, and you're just like, this is me, it turned into, I totally think it's cool. So that, as a person in the entertainment industry, to be able to learn that and be that is so good for people to see this, for young people, even adults.
I'm going to add something to that, though, okay? You got to be careful. Because yes, I don't drink and smoke. I'm LDS and all that stuff, but I don't mind it when somebody else does.
Oh yeah, and me neither. And that is a very valid point. It's like, if that makes you happy and that's your existence, this is mine. Yeah, right. That is a very good point.
Because if you don't, now you're holier than thou, and then people say, okay, whatever.
We actually said that because I don't drink for religious reasons, and because I don't want to. And she kind of chose later. I said, it's interesting. You can put that out there and be like your brand. But for me, it looks like I'm being judgy. If I do you know what I mean? Like if I'm like, because usually when it comes to religious. So I love that.
I mingle with all walks and talks of life.
And that is so cool of you to like, and I believe the same thing, to say, but that's okay if you do, because it is. It's like, great. Yeah. If that makes you happy,
I love agency.
Great.
You do you, I'll do me.
Yes. You are in an industry that demands perfection.
Yes.
And you've lived in it for so long. Like, how have you balanced, being hard on yourself to put out the best there is out there while just kind of fighting perfectionism and being okay and self-care? Because there's a point where that perfectionism will just take you out.
Well, let's define what perfectionism is. It's subjective, really.
Yeah.
Without perfectionism, then you don't have any desire to do anything that's good. So sometimes that word perfectionism has such a bad connotation. So don't get rid of that trait. Try to be perfect as much as you can. But one of the greatest words in the dictionary is strive. As long as you try. You may not hit the bullseye, but you're headed in the right direction. Yes, my business demands perfection, but so does every business. You make a lot of mistakes, you're not going to be in business very long. But I learned over the years, particularly like on stage, if I made a mistake on stage, I used to berate myself. I used to beat myself up. And come on, you can do better than that. Not too long ago, I do a tribute to Andy Williams. And I sing, Moon River wider than a mile, I'm crossing you. And I hit a high note, and I cracked it. And everybody in the audience was like,
gas.
Stopped the show. I stopped the audience. I stopped the band. I walked to the edge of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, you paid good money to come hear me sing. And I just blew it. I cracked a note. We're going to start over. And everybody's like, oh, this is cool. Moon River wider than a mile. And I hit the high note and I nailed it. Everybody's like, yeah. If you have fun with your mistakes, it's okay to be a perfectionist. Ease up on yourself a little bit. Perfectionism or being perfect is being imperfect.
Yeah.
It's okay because, again, going back to what we were just saying, I'll do me. And yeah, I'm going to make mistakes. And if I'm cool about it, particularly if I'm on stage and everybody's got me on under a microscope, and I'm okay with it, I'm cool. It's okay to make a mistake. Everybody's human. Problem is if you make mistakes all the time, then people are going to want to stop seeing you, dealing with you, because you're not trying.
Well, but I think that's where the magic lies, is how you handle it. So those people are still talking about how you cracked the note.
Yes.
They're still talking about that concert. And then you started it again. So I think what it is you're perfect at being you. And that's what I want our audience to know.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Perfect at being you.
Yeah. And it's like...
And that changes all the time.
Yes, totally.
And you're showing that you're human. You're this icon, and that's relatable to people, right? Because you are insanely talented, and you also work so hard. And you're, people look up to you. They're, in awe when they meet you and all these things. But at the same time, you have that vulnerability.
Right.
And that's in that perfection. But I agree with you, demanding yourself to be better. And that's how we grow.
Well, another part of that is that if you're doing everything perfect all the time, nobody can relate to you. It's like, how can I be your friend when you're just so perfect? You make me sick. You want me to throw up, It's like, no, I'm not.
No.
Well, because nobody's perfect, actually.
No.
Okay, so one of my favorite stories about you, and this shows how big you actually are, okay? Can you tell about the knock on the door at the hotel and a daughter wanted your
I think it was in
autograph.
Paris.
Oh, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I opened up the door and it's Paul McCartney knocking on my door.
Oh,
and his daughter Mary was a little girl at the time. Apparently she was a big Donny Osmond fan. And I'm sorry, I don't do a very good Liverpudlian accent, but he says, can I get your autograph, please, for my daughter? And I said, yeah. And he hands me a picture of me. He says, well, please sign it to Mary. So I said to Mary, love, Donny Osmond, there you go, Mary. And she squealed. And I said, thank you very much. And the door closed. I'm thinking, what just happened?
You're like, where's my autograph?
Yeah, I was stupid.
Yeah.
So years later, I'm in England. I'm in London editing a music video, and Paul happens to be in the adjacent studio editing one of his videos. And I thought, I got to go in there and verify the story. Maybe I dreamt it. Maybe I just made it up. And I walk in, I say, hey, Paul. He said, hey, Donny. And we start talking. He said, Paul, I got to verify this. And I told him the story. I said, did it happen? He said, Donny, not only did it happen, but your autograph is one of the very few autographs I've ever asked for in my life.
I love that.
Isn't that a cool story?
I just so cool. It is epic.
And I didn't ask for his. Idiot.
You know what? But you got that story, and it's so good.
He asked for yours. That's insane, amazing.
Yeah.
I want to know, out of everything you've done, I mean, your 70s time, your Donny Marie show, your solo things, your Dancing with Stars, Masked Singer, what has been your favorite thing that you've done in your career? I know. Okay, I get it.
It's like trying to pick a favorite child. You can't do it.
Well, we know who your favorite child is. But, but what, just something that was maybe you didn't expect it to be as fun, or something that challenged you?
Tough question to answer, because each one is just like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. Winning Dancing with the Stars was pretty cool, because I've never worked harder for an accolade in my life. One Bad Apple, when we heard that was number one, Casey Kasem announced it in 1971, I think it was. And when the Donny Marie show was getting the ratings, all these things, Joseph and the Amazing Dreamcoat. Yeah. I will have to say, though, because it's so topical and forefront in my mind, is my Vegas show right now.
Yeah.
Because it encompasses everything I've done in my life. I don't know how I do it, but we put 6 decades in 90 minutes.
You do.
And it's such a fulfilling show.
I can attest to it is insane off the chain.
In 1985, when you're going through your hard time, did you ever picture that at this age you would still be performing like this and have this massive show?
No. It's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's an aspiration. It's the bullseye and the target that you're hoping for. But I never thought it would be this fulfilling. I thought, man, it's a lot of work, but every night, by the time that curtain closes, it's euphoric. I mean, I'm so fortunate to be able to have my own show, and everybody's working that hard on stage, and the audience accepts it that much, and the awards and all that stuff. It's like, wow, this is very fulfilling.
You were born for this, though. I believe that. This is You were
thank
born
you
for this. You're incredible.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. We could chat with you. We might need a part 2. You know,
okay.
I know. We need a part 2.
But one thing that we do at the end of our show is we always ask a few rapid fire fun questions. So we're going to ask you those.
Okay.
How do you feel about it? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your perfect guilty pleasure meal?
Sitting on the sofa with a really cool action film with a big tub of Haagen-Dazs chocolate chip ice cream.
Okay.
That's it, man.
I'm feeling that.
I mean, you don't get better than that.
I always ask my friends, we refer to it different here, but I'm always like, what's your death row meal? Like if you're on death row, like what's the one thing, and people think I'm crazy. I'm like, you're either into food or you're not.
Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay.
And I've got the whole thing just scripted out.
Really? You're a sick woman.
I love it. Okay, I've got one for you.
Okay.
Who do you think has the perfect voice? That's a toughie.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Dancing with the Stars. And I think she was on the last show when I won. Whitney Houston was on the show.
She's my icon.
She's
obsessed. After you, of course.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
But she had a dressing room out on a trailer in the parking lot. And I thought, I'm so busy. I've got so much on my mind. I just want to meet Whitney Houston. So I walk out there, and she's got guards galore in front of this. And the door's open. And I walk up to this guard, 7 foot tall, whatever. I said, I'm Donny Osmond. I'd like to say hi to Whitney. She heard it. And I hear this sweet little voice coming out of the this dressing room. Donny Osmond, get in here! And I go in the dressing room, and we start singing One Bad Apple together.
What?
And
I have full body chills.
Oh yeah, it was a great moment. I think she had one of the greatest voices ever.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't even.
That
words
talent.
don't even.
No.
Words don't even.
It's funny
justify.
because Whitney was my opening act at Harrah's. Let me explain. They had a hologram of her, and every night before I would go on stage, it was Whitney singing on stage. Oh. And the irony of all this, Whitney has moved on since. Yeah. And my new opening act now is Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They do a Michael Jackson show, so every night before I go on stage, I'm going to hear Beat It and Thriller. And,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
What is, where's your perfect place to vacation?
Hawaii. It's the islands are so important to Debbie and myself because that's where I proposed 47 years ago.
47 years.
Yes.
Incredible.
And kudos to your wife. She's amazing.
Well, to put up with me for 47 years, she is. Oh, you have met Debbie.
She is beautiful inside out, backwards.
She is.
I
was lucky. I was very lucky.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Incredible. Okay, one last question.
What makes you, Donny Osmond, perfectly imperfect?
Ooh. Two of the most important words, perfectly imperfect. I have a philosophy about that. I think perfection is imperfection. And I'll use an analogy. You ever look at a forest from the distance? It's absolutely beautiful. But if you get up close, there's broken wood, there's leaves, there's this. It's really not pretty. But you back up, that imperfection becomes perfection. And I think we all need to apply that to ourselves. If we are myopic about our lives, I make this mistake and I got this dead wood and all these dead leaves in my life. No, go to 30,000 feet and look at yourself. You're doing pretty darn good.
I'm like tearing up over here. It's so good. That is such valuable, beautiful advice for our listeners because that's pure gold. That is.
Well, thank you.
That is everything, right?
Well,
there.
I believe it because I've been around a while, 6 decades of show business, and I've gone through the myopic portions of my life where I just beat myself up, and then I just say, you know what, you're doing the best you can, and that's good enough.
Oh, I love it.
It's more than good enough.
You're amazing. So how do our listeners see your show?
Well, all the information is on Donny.com.
Okay, perfect.
And we're there 23 weeks out of the year. But this summer I'm going to take off. I'm going to get my green thumb working. I have plans on the most amazing garden. It's going to be amazing because I have an orchard, I have a vineyard, I have raspberries, blackberries, bush. I'm putting something on social here in the next couple of days. And the Kitchen Garden Academy. I probably shouldn't say it, but I just joined it And I'm now going to be an imperfectly perfect gardener.
Oh, wow.
I love that so much, because I do believe that we have to find things outside of, like, obviously your entire life has been showbiz and it does fulfill you. We know what that high is like. I mean, in a small school of like being on stage and, performing, and it really fulfills you, but you do need something to other talents and things.
You have to diversify. Absolutely.
Okay. So what is this Instagram? We all want to follow you.
Oh, it's just go to Donny. All the information is
DonnyOsmond.com.
It's at Donny Osmond.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all want to follow you. I think I
didn't have to buy that name from somebody. I owned it. Yeah.
I love that you're on the gram. Oh, and now you're gardening. It's
and
so
he's
good.
got good stuff. Like, you are so relevant. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. It is like an honor.
You guys are fun to talk to. Thank you for having me. It really has been fun. Thank you so
much. All right. A huge thanks to our guests and for the support you've given us by tuning in. Catch us next time on the Perfect 10 podcast.